Today's topic, inflation. In my last video, I spoke about shrinkflation, the hidden method of passing on increases in prices to consumers. Unlike shrinkflation, which is often less obvious to consumers, inflation is more obvious. The inflation we are experiencing today is a result of the U.S. government printing trillions of dollars to prop up the economy. At the same time, the government shut down businesses around the world, creating supply shortages from which we have not yet recovered. Subsequently, interest rates have risen, compounding the supply side of the economy, as it is more difficult and more expensive to borrow to run a business. And previously, I spoke about the inability of the U.S. government to sell long-term bonds. To avoid default, they monetize the bond purchases without sterilization. I might cover what sterilization is in a future video. It's not that important for this video, but sterilization is when debt monetization is balanced in the banking system with an equivalent volume. When debt monetization is not balanced, it produces price inflation, and this is exactly why prices are climbing and will continue to climb. Central banks around the world are buying their debt as a part of their yield curve control as an effort to contain interest rates from rising out of control, which would wreak havoc on the economy, but then results in inflation. So just keep an eye on commodities as an inflation signal. And just take a look at the price of gold as an indicator. So central banks, that is the Federal Reserve is a central bank, their yield control, curve control, also known as quantitative easing, is going to result in high inflation, and a high inflation will hurt Americans and devastate their businesses. So while some might actually say that inflation is under control, just take a look at the trends. Since the 2021 lockdown, supply chain was crippled from 2.1 trillion to now under 200 billion. And Americans now are forced to dip into their savings of their personal savings, and that dropped by as much as $1.9 trillion in just 2 years. Running out of savings, we now see an unprecedented credit card balance increasing to a record 1.08 trillion this year. With credit card balances maxing out, Americans are turning to their retirement accounts now to counter their inflation. So we're seeing an increase in hardship withdrawals from retirement accounts. Inflation is here, and at the rate at which we're printing money through quantitative easing to prop up the bond market, hyperinflation and a continued recession looks to be in the future. So in my next video, I will show that we have been in a recession for years.